Hey, good morning, everyone. It is, depending on when you're catching me, whether it's in the live or the replay, December 30th, so 2020. And I know so many people are thinking 2020 good riddance, but you know, we're going to talk about manifestation here. You probably saw the subject line, 3 myths about manifestation, but I just have to say, because of the timing of when I'm doing this live, the day before New Year's Eve. So what is that? New Year's Eve Eve? Something like that. And it's my 4-month wedding anniversary too. Yippee. So what I guess what I was about to say is, can you look back at 2020, despite the craziness of this year and just kind of things really catching everyone unexpectedly? Can you all do me a favor, and after you've watched this, just grab a piece of paper and write down a few things that are good things that happened in 2020, maybe some things you're grateful for. And if things were tough for you in your life, maybe there's some things like the planet got a nice breath, maybe there's some things that happened that were really great for your kids or someone in your life. Try to, even if there are a lot of things that you're just still tearing out your hair about, I can't even speak. Try to look for a few things that you're grateful for, okay? So promise me that you'll do that. 2020, Rachel, has been a lot, yeah. Yes, thank you. And you don't have to do it right now, but I'm planting a seed for you, because the seed of gratitude is so powerful to manifestation. But just today, quickly, and I'm going to keep this one really short, I want to talk to you about 3 myths around manifesting. And these are things I hear a lot. So I just thought, let's just kind of target these for a moment. So number 1, and by the way, you guys, I put the challenge just in case anybody that is watching this in the group is not registered for the challenge yet. Those of you who have come into the group because of the challenge, just so you know, this group is here for you. It's not a pop-up group just for the challenge. This group is solid. It's always here. It will always be here for you. Many, many people joined this group before we even start talking about the challenge. So for those of you who are not yet signed up for the challenge, it's starting January 11th. And it's going to be a 5-day challenge. Now, I picked that date for a particular reason. It's great that it just happened to fall on a Monday and it's a 5-day challenge. So that's really lovely. It just happened to be that way, as great things do just kind of happen to fall into place in life, kind of manifestation. But if you're into numbers at all, this is kind of fun. And if you're not, you can just listen and think, oh, that's kind of cool. But if you take the year 2021, it adds up to a number 5. And if you study numbers at all, 5 is the number of change. Now, I've learned this a long time ago. It's like 1, make a wish, there's an energy gate. 2, what is it? I always want to jump to 5 with the number 2, and it's kind of a backwards 5, but 2 is more solid. It's just miracles are right around the corner. So it's really just be patient. You may not see it yet, but it's right around the corner. 3, your angels are near. 4, your spirit guides are around you. 5 is like that rocking horse. So if you look at the bottom of the 5, it's like it's rocking, it's unsteady. That's change. Right? Change isn't real steady, it moves, but it's rocking forward. And one thing that I've noticed, I kind of have to, I do this so automatically that I just forget that I do it, but I've always looked at change as kind of exciting. So I realize, and I've studied this, I was trained as a change manager. I get that from the majority of people, change is a little upsetting. It creates some anxiety. there's a lot of, oh no, what if, what if, what if? But for me, and it must be because I trained my mind this way a long time ago, I find change exciting. And I'm always thinking, oh, okay, what good can come out of this? And how can this change happen where I still hold on to all the good things that I've gained and grown? You know, it doesn't mean that you have to lose as you continue to win. So there's a mindset shift in that 5 moving forward. And 2021 is a 5-year, we're moving forward and we're shifting. And for a lot of this energy that's been created in 2020, that's a good thing, right? We need to kind of shift and move out of it and move forward. And that's what we're doing. And it's, if you're into the age of Aquarius stuff, we are firmly in the age of Aquarius. So it's time to rise and really let this flow in. So that's super exciting. Change definitely brings up a lot of what ifs for me. Yeah, and you know what, Rachel? That is so natural. I mean, it's part of the human experience because we have a fight or flight part of our primitive brain and it wants to keep us safe. And so safe, even when it's not good, is what's known. That's just kind of the way we're hardwired. So we need to kind of change that and shift that in our mind and say, no, we don't, it's not helpful to stay where we are. Now, I told you I was going to talk to you about some myths, so I'm going to start with that. Let's just jump into 3 myths. And so if you guys have seen in many of my posts, or if you came into the challenge, you probably saw this a little bit in the challenge or my toolkit, for those of you who got it. But I always say thinking it real is not enough. So the very first myth about manifestation is all you have to do is think about what you want, because I know that's a part of the law of attraction. If I think about it and I focus on it, I'll call it in. And that's a yes, and it's not a no. It's not a no. It's a not quite. Meaning the myth is that that's all you need to do. And the truth is that there is understanding your thoughts, first of all, what they are. We're not generally really conscious of our thoughts. We don't pay attention. They're just coming in and going out, and some of them stay and they loop, right? The ones that really stay and they loop, if we stop for a moment, we're very conscious of them. But a lot of them are very unconscious. So thoughts become habits, and habits are unconscious patterns that we continue to repeat. So thoughts are habits, and thoughts have a lot of energy. There's a vibration to the thought. That's why it is part of such an important part of the law of attraction, sending that thought out, that frequency out. The other thing, though, about thoughts, besides the fact that they're automatic patterns, they're habits, is that our beliefs feed our thoughts. So as we're thinking, if you don't kind of lift that layer up, peel the onion back a little bit and look at your beliefs first, which is why I created that manifestation toolkit. So guys, if you haven't gotten the toolkit, it's only $27. I highly recommend it. It's not the sales part of this. It's just, you're going to gain so much more than you can imagine. But this is what I do and talk about and bring you through in the toolkit, is really gaining that awareness of your beliefs. So I said thinking it real is not enough. It's because thoughts are habitual, because thoughts are fed by our beliefs. So you first need to understand what your beliefs are, because beliefs are changeable. And then, the other part of this is, I mentioned to you that thoughts have a frequency. Thoughts are energy, right? We're all energetic beings, and our thoughts have a frequency and an energy. So it also, and if you've watched any of my lives, you guys, you're going to get this. When you're thinking something and wishing for something, it needs to be on a vibrational frequency of expansion. If you're in a very low vibrational frequency. If you're contracted, you're going to be sending that signal out from a very contracted place. Does that make sense to you? If you would like to know more about that, and you don't, there are some lives, sorry, my hair is going crazy. There are some lives in here about that, about the vibrational scale, but you can also send me even in the replay, just anytime you comment, whether you're live with me or you're not, I'm going to see them and I'll respond. But just put vibrational scale or scale in the comments and I'll send that to you. But it shows you that when you have certain emotions, and the emotions are our language. It's the language of the universe, the language of our subconscious. And when you're feeling a certain way and then you're sending your thoughts out from that frequency, that's what you end up attracting. So if you're feeling really sad or lonely or depressed or worried, that's the vibrational frequency you're sending out. And the universe is really just there to match. It's to give you exactly what you want, but the way it understands you is through your emotions, thoughts and emotion. The other part is when, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, about one of the other myths, is you want to make sure that emotion is not only expansive, but it's part of that thought, because that's how the universe hears you loud and clear. Okay, Rachel, you got the scale. Yeah, it's good to have that in your hands. It's good to be able to see it. I'm very visual, so that really helps me too. So good. Anyone else, if you're just coming on, just put scale and I'll send it to you. And if you haven't signed up for the challenge, the link is above. And once you do, you'll have an opportunity to buy the toolkit. So again, you don't have to be in the challenge. It's not necessary. The challenge is free, but I do recommend it. Myth number 2, so I started to talk about this. Just say it. Affirmations. How many of you guys do affirmations? How many of you consciously, deliberately, intentionally have put together affirmations and say them on a regular basis? For example, maybe you wake up in the morning and it's part of your morning ritual and you sit down with your affirmations. So that's a wonderful practice. So what is the myth? It's another yes and not quite answer for you. A lot of people think if I just say my affirmations and I'm saying them every day and I'm really religious about it, I do my vision board maybe and I say my affirmations and I put little notes to remind me. So it's top of mind. That's where my thought process is going. That's enough. But it goes back to this. If your affirmations are not aligned with your belief system, see how I keep getting back to beliefs, below thoughts, before affirmations. If your belief system still says, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it, I'm going to think it, I'm going to try to remember it, I'm going to keep it top of mind, I'm going to think it into existence, but deep inside you do not believe it, it makes it very difficult for the universe to align with that. Now, maybe you're saying, but I believe what I believe. I can't, that's not changeable, but that's not true. Every belief is changeable. In fact, when you are manifesting, and I will get into this a lot more in the challenge, so you guys are going to really get this tightened up. But when you create that vision, that really clear vision of what you want, and that will have multiple parts, life and business and family and love and all the different pieces of that vision that come together. If you're really clear, and there's a way to do this, I'm going to teach you a really powerful way to do this. But if you're really clear on that, that becomes like a beacon. That doesn't change. That's the beacon. That's the one that doesn't change. Down here, beliefs are very changeable. One day you might believe you absolutely could never be running a successful business. And a year from now, you could have a super successful business. And you could be on top of the world, and your biggest challenge could be, what do I do? I need to build my team. I don't know how to build my team. I need to hire a consultant to help me bring my team in because I'm too busy and I can't handle all this business. A good challenge, right? So your beliefs are changeable. You know, I nobody believed that, what was it, the mile was, it was a 6-minute mile or a 4-minute mile or whatever. Nobody believed it until someone did it. And then no one had in the history of running had ever run a mile at that speed. And I'm sorry, I don't remember all the specifics, but as soon as someone did, we saw it, we believed it, and we said, all right. If you had told me back in the 80s when I was in college that we were all going to be doing this, I was going to be sitting with a camera in front and I was going to be able to talk to all of you like this on video, and I was going to be able to pull up my phone and watch a TV show, or, well, let's just, back in the 80s, the internet. I mean, people kind of knew about computers. I actually worked with one of the first pioneers of the computers, and who was Steve Jobs' right-hand guy, and people know about computers a little bit, but it was still a little space-agey stuff. It wasn't real for us. So beliefs change. That's the point. The point isn't that other stuff. The point is your beliefs can change and evolve. Sometimes it doesn't mean, a change does not mean necessarily that something morphs completely from one thing to the other. It doesn't have to be the caterpillar to the butterfly. You know, it could be the child to the adolescent to the adult, you know, and some of those changes they don't have to hit you over the head like 2020 does. They can be a little softer, they can flow more. You can bring it in, you know, in a way that's manageable for you emotionally, in the reality realm, you know, of, you know, practical realm of building a business, and all those things are very manageable. But change, sometimes it just means shifting. Smaller changes feel more manageable, yeah. So smaller steps are actually so much more powerful. And as you make smaller steps, they can start to get bigger. And sometimes you can make bigger steps and they get smaller. That's another kind of something I teach in iterations, as you're evolving and growing in your business or any piece of your business. It's kind of this fail-safe approach, but you want to be able to have iterations. And sometimes the changes are huge, but then you start to just fine-tune. Then you're fine-tuning, and they're really small changes, but they're meaningful. So every shift, every change is meaningful and powerful. The third myth, so the first was thinking it real. Not quite enough, right? But powerful. It's all a part of it. Affirmations, just saying them is not enough. They need to be said with emotion and with your belief lined up with that. And by the way, if you're changing a belief, you can change it slowly too. It doesn't have to be all at once. It may not be that I'm going to be this CEO of $1 billion company. It could be that this year I'm going to meet and exceed any income I've ever brought in working for someone else. And next year I'm going to double that. And the next year I might 5 times that, because then I can get that momentum. You might give yourself smaller goals that are more manageable and they make sense, and then you really can believe it. So part of that is we want to make sure it goes both ways. We're not just trying to, you know, when I say we, I'm saying me helping you, working with you, me and my team, getting together with you, us here as a group helping each other, because we have so many wise, powerful women in this group. It's amazing. So myth number 3, manifestation doesn't work. Anybody ever feel that way? Just a little bit? Like, okay, that works for everyone else, but it doesn't work for me. Or, okay, yeah, I know. I was just thinking about something and then it happened, but that was a coincidence. It doesn't happen by design. It doesn't just happen because I want it to happen. It doesn't, you know. So if you want to go deep with this, there's another live I did in another group that I posted in this group just below this one. Just look for it. It's about counter manifesting. Manifestation does work. The trick is there's a formula. So I alluded to that formula a little bit. Remember, we talked about think, thoughts, and we talked about affirmations, and I kept going back to beliefs. And I alluded to creating a vision board that is really clear and focused, and there's a way to do that, getting that vision right. So, and there's some clearing that needs to take place. So manifestation is real, but there is a formula, and that's why I created that toolkit. So if you haven't gotten it, you know what, I'll go back in and I'll put the link to that. So if you're in the challenge, and you should be getting some emails, but if you want to just go straight to the toolkit and you're interested in getting it, again, it's only $27, but it's a true $630 value. I mean, I loaded it with hypnotherapy recordings, 5 25 to 30 page workbooks, really good workbooks. I poured myself into this, 5 video lessons, a checklist. There's just, it's pretty full. So go and take a look at that. But one of the reasons manifestation may not be working for you yet is if you just haven't gotten that formula right. Think of it like a combination lock. You know, those locks where you have to turn each dial and you have to know the number, the sequence, right? You can get, let's say you have a combination lock with 5 of those dials and you get 4 of them dialed in. Will the lock open? No. You need all 5 to get the lock open. So there is a formula for this. There's also something called counter manifesting. So you know what I mean by that. And I get into this really deep in the toolkit, and we're going to go into this in the challenge. But sabotage, we self-sabotage. We don't do it on purpose. And a lot of times, in fact, most times it's hidden. It's kind of behind the scenes. It's deep buried in our subconscious. That's why I want you to watch that live I did, because I got into the 7 ways we counter manifest. Counter manifesting is just when, so let me just kind of go back when I say counter manifesting, because we're always manifesting, either intentionally, which I call by design, or unintentionally, by default. We're always co-creating with the universe. We're thinking about things, we're attracting certain things. So we want to make sure we're in an expansive place emotionally when we're calling in what we want. So we get into all of that. We want to make sure that our beliefs are aligned and we're doing the work and we understand what our thoughts are and our self-talk are. But the other thing is that sometimes this stuff is just buried. So there are ways that we end up manifesting what we don't want. So if you say, this manifestation stuff doesn't work because I'm getting the opposite of what I want, well, let me tell you something. You are manifesting. You're just counter manifesting. You're calling in what you don't want, or possibly more of what you have right now, which may be the same, just what you don't want. Sometimes you might even go get more of what you don't want. Things seem to get worse. And that's all very fixable. All very fixable. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're worried about whether you're about to. I do care where you are. I shouldn't say I don't care. I do care about you, and I do care where you are. I do care if you're worried about some of the basic survival stuff, because nobody should be there. You should be thriving, not just surviving. But we need to train your mind to get out of that survival mentality and the anxiety mentality of what if, and the fear and the sadness and the guilt and the blame and the shame and all that, those emotions that are contracting. And we can teach you, I really can help you, teach you how to change your mind to change your life and manifest everything that you want. So 2021, I told you 2021 is a 5, we're rocking forward, so we're going to rock this. Also, 111, remember I started with the ones? 11 is like an energy gate. It's like the gates, and we're going to walk through it. Whenever you see 1111 or the number 11, it's just your angels telling you there's an energy gate. So make a wish And then we're going to walk through it, because thinking it is not enough either. We need to take action, inspired action. Okay, so we're going to do this together starting on January 11th. Can't wait to see you guys there. I'm going to try really hard to come on with a final Happy New Year wish to you guys tomorrow morning. So I've got something special planned. So I think I'm going to see you before next year, but next year is this week. And I want you guys to get excited about 2021. If you're feeling worried or anxious, just flip that on its head and say, no, 2021 is going to be magical. And this is going to be our first step together. All right, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow morning.